Imagine a world where a car is not just a car, but an era frozen in time. The 1920s, the smell of oil, the roar of early gasoline engines, hand-assembled steel bodies, and the BMW logo just starting out. Now fast forward 2,200 years. The year 4200. A world where roads no longer restrict movement, where energy flows not through wires, but directly through space, where the car has ceased to be a car, it has become a form of life. What do these two worlds have in common? And what has changed so much that the owner of a 1923 BMW in 4200 would be called a time traveler? Today, we'll compare BMW's first century with the 42nd century to understand how a small aircraft engine manufacturer turned into a company that created vehicles capable of rewriting the laws of physics. The BMW of the 1920s is not at all the luxury sedans and coupes that we imagine today. At that time, the company was just beginning to form its identity. After the First World War, the German aircraft engine manufacturer was forced to switch to civilian transport. It was at this time that the first BMW motorcycles appeared, and a little later cars made in the classic style for the beginning of the 20th century, a long hood, narrow wheels, soft suspension, and an engine that, despite low power, created a sense of freedom. BMW's first production car, the BMW 315, was compact, lightweight and functional. Its body was assembled manually, the engine produced about 15 horsepower, and the maximum speed barely exceeded 80 kilometers per hour. But in those years it was impressive. The car gave you a sense of independence, the opportunity to go where you could only dream of going before. Cars of the 1920s required attention, regular maintenance, frequent lubrication, careful handling of brakes and gearboxes. And yet, despite their simplicity, they had a soul. The vibrations, the smell of gasoline, the mechanical sound of the engine, all this created a unique experience. The car was an extension of man, a mechanical companion, not an intelligent system. Now fast forward to the year 4200. BMW has long ceased to be just a car company, it has become the creator of mobile ecosystems. By that time, humanity had experienced a technological leap that had changed the very nature of transportation. The BMW 4200 no longer drives on the roads in the usual sense. Roads practically do not exist, they have become part of history. Back in the 18th century, mankind finally abandoned the traditional roadway, switching to airfield transportation systems, a hybrid of magnetic levitation, quantum stabilization and anti-gravity platforms. The car of the future does not have an engine in the traditional sense. There is no internal combustion, no electric motor, no batteries. BMW uses quantum energy cells that are powered by spacetime fluctuations. In other words, the car extracts energy from the space around itself. It's not just eco-friendly, it's endless. The exterior of the BMW 4200 is based on bioengineered materials. The car body is no longer made of steel, plastic, or composites. His skin is a smart material that can change shape and density. The car becomes streamlined at high speeds, more stable in turbulence, and completely transparent if required by the view. Instead of headlamps, photonic chromosomes create three-dimensional light structures. Instead of mirrors, there are spherical sensors that analyze the space for kilometers around. Instead of a steering wheel, there is a neural interface that connects the owner directly with the vehicle. But the main thing is that a car doesn't just transport a person. He interacts with it. BMW 4200 is a synergy of man and machine. It reads biometric parameters, adjusts the route depending on the emotional state of the driver, and can activate full autonomy mode, turning into a personal rest capsule. If in the 1920s BMW created mechanical structures that needed to be understood and controlled manually, then in the year 4200 BMW creates partners who understand you. And surprisingly, the brand spirit has not been lost. At the very core of the car of the future, the very desire for drive, for a sense of movement, for freedom is still alive. Only if in the 1920s freedom meant traveling faster than 50 kilometers per hour, then in the 4200th freedom meant moving between continents in minutes, between planets in hours. In the 1920s, a BMW driver felt the roughness of the steering wheel, felt every bump of the suspension, and heard the noise of the gearbox. In the 4200, the BMW driver does not hold the steering wheel, he feels the way through sensory signals that do not overload consciousness, but give an intuitive sense of direction. Somewhere in the Museum of the Future, behind a protective film, there is an old BMW 315. People admire it as an ancient artifact, a symbol of the beginning of the era of mobility. And next to it, a BMW 4200 is on display, not as a car, but as a technological being. And there are almost 3,000 years of evolution between them. The evolution of materials, energy, technology, but most importantly, the evolution of human dreams. The BMW from the 1920s became the foundation of the BMW from the 4200th. One generation has created a machine. The other created a movement. And the third created a new mode of transport that has become a part of human consciousness. This is how the BMW car went from mechanical levers and the smell of gasoline to quantum traction and a living body. And in this contrast, there is the history not only of the company, but of the whole of humanity. From the first transmission to the first jumps between cities. From metal suspension to weightlessness. From simplicity to infinity.